Boogity,
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 boogity, boogity. Let's go racing, boys. Pat came back just for that.
Let's go racing, boys.
Only place he ever gets to sing is on Fridays on Sports Talk, and we go in the fast lane with Jeff Owens. I know that hurts your ears having to listen to that. Welcome in, Jeff. How are you?
Phil, how are you guys this weekend?
We're fine.
We're great.
Hope we didn't do damage to your eardrums there. Great to have you with us. So we go off to Kansas this weekend and then to Darlington next weekend. What do you want to dive into more, Kansas or Darlington?
Well, I always look forward to that Darlington race for sure, being kind of our home track. But, you know, Kansas is an interesting track. It's another mile-and-a-half track, and, you know, you never know what you're going to get with those. Sometimes you get some boring racing, but it has not been boring the last few races at Kansas. This race last year, looking back, is the race where Denny Hamlin and Kyle Larson got into it at the end, and Hamlin wrecked him and won the race. And then we had a fight on pit road. Ross Chastain and Noah Gragson got into it. So this track over the past couple of years has created some fireworks. So I expect another exciting race this weekend with a lot of action and possibly a little bit of drama.
What'd you think about last weekend in that it boiled down to two, had a little bit of drama down there towards the end? I mean, I thought it was a pretty good race, but then again, there's some people who think that kind of racing is kind of boring.
Yeah, it was okay. You know, I don't think it was the best Dover race I've seen, but, you know, Dover's a little bit like Bristol and Darlington. It's just fun to watch them race around that track. You know, there's so much speed and G-forces and working those high bankings and all of that. It's always an interesting race to watch. You know, sometimes it got a little dull there for a while, but I thought the end was really good with Hamlin holding off Kyle Larson. You had two heavy hitters going at it for the victory, and Denny Hamlin gets his third win of the year. He is certainly flexing some muscle and, you know, one of the guys to beat right now. And he looks like he's on top of his game, and I kind of expect that to carry over to this weekend and maybe continue.
Yeah, he's leading the points at this stage. Of course, he's got 3 wins, so he's firmly in the postseason. Couple of quick notes on drivers. Eric Jones has been cleared, going to sit out this weekend, return for Darlington. And JTG Daughtry Racing signing Ricky Stenhouse to a multi-year contract. Your thoughts on those two?
Yeah, great to get Eric Jones back. That was a frightening crash he had at Talladega and suffered a little bit of a back and neck injury there, but fortunately he's only going to be out a couple of weeks, and he gets to return really at his favorite track. He's got a couple of upset victories at Darlington, so I'm sure he's really happy about that and probably was very, very anxious to at least come back for that race. Stenhouse, great deal for him. You know, this is a guy who, you know, doesn't contend or win often, but he shows up every now and then. He's won a few restricted plate races, and from what I understand, he is really, really good with the sponsors of that team. You know, that's a team, small independent team, but they have a lot of, you know, grocery store type sponsors, Kroger, and then they bring in a lot of sponsors piggybacking on them. And from what I understand, Stenhouse is great with those, so they were very, very happy to re-sign him. So a couple of good news for those two guys.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff Owens in the fast lane with us here tonight on Sports Talk. And I wanted to go back to Eric Jones for a moment. Returning at Darlington, Jeff, it sounds like you've been sick at school for a couple of days. You show back up and there's a trigonometry test. Well, don't you want to wait another week and maybe return at North Wilkesboro for the All-Star Open? Is the reason, though, he maybe targeted Darlington is because he's had success there and runs well here?
Oh, I think that's absolutely the case. You know, it's all, you know, they have to go through the medical steps and make sure that he's, you know, okay. But, yeah, I would think that he would be very anxious to return at Darlington. He runs well there every single time he goes there, and he's got 2 wins there. And some guys do that. I mean, you throw the toughest tracks out there, and certain guys just sort of dial in and get into a groove, and they're always good there, and that's the case for him. So I'm sure he was very, very anxious to come back at Darlington, at a place where he knows he can run well, perhaps start some momentum and get back in the groove after missing a couple of weeks.
Story out today in the statistics, and I don't want to get too far in the weeds in that, but cautions so far this season, according to J-Ski, down in 2024. Cautions down 27% compared to the same time 2 years ago, which was the first season of the current next-gen cars. Jeff, is that good or bad? Is that good because the guys have figured out a way to drive these cars now and they're not getting involved in accidents, or does that hurt the fans from the standpoint that we don't see the big one coming nearly as often?
Yeah, I got about 20 seconds.
Yeah, I think it's both. I think they have figured this car out, so you're not seeing as many wrecks, but I don't think that's great for the sport. I think they like to see some action and some wrecks, and cautions lead to restarts, and that's great. So, you hate to see wrecks, but I think more cautions is good for the sport.
If they ain't wrecking, they ain't happy.
And they ain't trying.
You go.
Jeff, thank you, my friend. Appreciate it.
Jeff.
Look forward to really diving into Darlington with you next week. Have a great weekend.
Okay, guys, have a good one.
All right, we'll be right back.